Every New Jersey high school has sports, and so does Belleville, with teams from football to golf. But Belleville has one team that sets it apart from the rest, and that's crew or rowing. Now, many people may not know what crew is, or if they do, they don't know the full extent of its athletes or their dedication. In the upcoming documentary, I'm going to explain their full dedication and what it's like to be a crew member. When people hear the word rowing, they either think of the classic childhood song, Row, Row, Row Your Boat, or they might think of an older couple rowing gently on a quiet lake. But trust me, high school rowing is not like that at all.
If everybody had an ocean across the USA, then everybody'd be served like California. You see them wearing their baggies, Warachi sandals too, a bushy, bushy blonde hair, serving USA. You'll catch them surfing at Del, Ventura County line, Santa Cruz and Fresno.
The Belleville High School crew team is split into two teams. There's the boys team and the girls team. Now within these teams, there are also two separate teams. There's the novice and the JV and the varsity. The JV and the varsity teams are the older guys. They're usually sophomores, juniors, seniors, while the novice are usually freshmen. But they could also be juniors, sophomores, and seniors because it's just first-time rowers.
Crew is the term we use for the sport of rowing here at Belleville High School. Rowing started at Belleville High School in 1942, and it continues on through current day.
Well, crew to me is like a pain you have to deal with every day. But other than that, crew is just like a team sport. Everybody right here in the team is like a family. We're all so close, you know. But in crew, you have to put in a lot of dedication and a lot of teamwork. And I just love that, just having everybody come together and just have fun. But that's what crew is to me. That's what crew means to me. Crew means a lot to me. Crew is life to me.
It's a sport that consists of massive amounts of pain, and the winner usually is whatever rower or rowers can be seated in a seat and withstand the most pain for the longest and still be able to put out pressure and get the boat moving.
A typical day of crew practice starts out with the athletes setting up the launch, which is a motorboat that follows the rowboats, and it's where the coach stays so he can give advice and help out the rowers if they need assistance. Due to the weight of the launch, it takes many rowers to bring the boat down to the water without it scratching the dock. After the rowers bring the launch down to the dock, it's time for them to listen up to the coach to find out what boat they're going to be in that day. After the coach tells them what boat they're in, they have to bring the boat down to the water, and it's time for the fun to begin.
You see them wearing their baggies, Warachi sandals too, a bushy, bushy blonde hair, serving USA. You'll catch them surfing at Del, Ventura County line, Santa Cruz and Fresno, Caribbean, all over Manhattan, and down the Meany Way. Everybody's gone surfing, serving USA. We'll all be planning out a route we're gonna take real soon. We're waxing down our surfboard, we can't wait for June. We'll all be gone for the summer.
While on the water, the coach gives the rowers and coxswain advice on how to improve their technique to help them prepare for race day.
That's what should happen in an 8, right? If you're taking more strokes in a faster boat, the boat should finish well beyond the others, okay? That's what that drill tells me as a coach. I can tell how well you're moving the boat just by how you do compared to the other boats, okay? This is a fixed number of strokes, right?
The rowers also perform exercises that help them improve their technique. One such exercise is called outside arm rowing. This helps the rowers focus on obtaining a longer reach. Another exercise the rowers perform on the water is called the dead mosquito drill.
That's what this drill bit shows you, the technical issues you may be having with the stroke.
Sometimes rowing is not as fun as it seems. Because of the strain that the oar puts on the rowers' hands, the rowers are constantly taping up their hands with medical tape to prevent blisters or even cover them up. After rowing their hearts out on the river, it's time for the athletes to head in and start their land exercises. While on land, rowers have to do two different types of exercises. There's strength training with weights, and the rowers have to use ergs, which are rowing machines to help them simulate rowing, to do many various exercises. Every other week, the rowers have to participate in a 2K, which is sort of like a test for rowers.
2K is hard. Rowing 2,000 meters by yourself on one of those things for as long as it takes. It'll take up to 10, maybe 7 to 10 minutes just to do a 2K.
Good, they just cleared laps.
2K is basically hell. It's when you sit on the erg and you row 2,000 meters. It's the worst pain you can experience. But when you get off that erg, it's like serenity. It's when you get off and you know that you PB'd and you got a better time than you did last time.
Okay, so there's no words to describe how painful or how bad a 2K is. I believe it's basically the devil's workout.
The entire 2K, you feel like you just want to stop, like you're gonna die. And once you're done, you know, you feel like your heart is pumping faster, you know, the adrenaline's starting to pump, and it's really painful.
Now there's no way to know how painful a 2K really is unless you do one. But hopefully this next scene will give you a taste of what it's like to do a 2K. Every once in a while, the rowers get a break from their hard work to perform maintenance on various types of equipment. Finally, after a week of hard work, race day has arrived. From waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning and driving 2 hours to Philadelphia's Schuylkill River to spend a 16-hour day racing and cheering on teammates, it's these races that prove a rower's dedication and team pride. After setting up the Belleville team tent, it's time for race day to begin. Even though this may sound like a boring and exhausting day, it's not. These races are a time for parents and rowers to get together and talk about what's been going on in their lives. Or they might even just start up a quick game of volleyball. Now, don't get me wrong. These races are not just a time to fool around. When the races are starting, the spectators get up and cheer, while the athletes are either setting up for races or are warming up. In fact, here comes the girls' novice 8 boat right now. And with that, the novice girls team won second place. The Belleville crew team has a tradition that if a boat comes in first place, they get to run the Rocky Steps. Surprisingly, many of the major scenes of Rocky were filmed in the area that the rowers stay. From the roads that are driven to get down to the river, to the jogging trail that runs alongside the river. Recently, I even discovered that the cemetery overlooking the river was of significance when it came to Rocky. At the end of the movie Rocky Balboa, Rocky is seen placing flowers at Adrian's grave in Laurel Hill Cemetery. After finding this out, I decided to look around and see if I could find any remnants of the scene. Finally, after 20 minutes of looking around and almost losing my leg to a vicious German Shepherd, I decided to ask a kind woman in the cemetery gift shop where I might find such an item. And she actually brought me to the headstone that they used in the movie. Even though this may sound irrelevant, it's not. I bring this up because to be a successful rower, you need to have the determination and never quit attitude that Rocky showed. After a long day in Philly, it's time for the rowers to head home to repeat this arduous cycle, week after week, for 3 months.
It's essential in crew that everybody row together. That's why we call it crew, and that's why we work so hard to get everybody in sync to row together. It's a team sport, and it's very important that they row as a crew. Yeah, go.
Crew is pain. I want to encourage teamwork, but at the same time, I want everyone to push themselves beyond their limits, beyond everything that they thought that they could accomplish. So for me, it's really from beginning to end. At the end of the season, I want each and every one of them to walk away proud of themselves.
Crew is life.